Welcome everyone to the Eye for an Eye channel. The microchip implant is something we've all been covering for years, but it's becoming more and more normalized, and I need to continue to cover it because there's a lot of things that go into this. We've heard of the microchip being used to open doors. They've told people that they can use it to start their car or open their car door, things like that. But eventually, obviously, the mark that'll be inside of people's body, which I believe will be intertwined into their genetic code, into their DNA, with blockchain, will, of course, enable people to buy or sell, like the Bible tells us in the book of Revelation. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 18, and the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of its name. Here is a call for wisdom. Let the one who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and that number is 666. So now we're seeing, instead of this, the chip being talked about and people being like, look, I have a chip, I can turn my TV on, is the bank chip. And I'm about to show you the bank chip. And one of the things that scares me the most about this is that social media, again, is going to be used to implement this on the youth. People on TikTok, for example. I'll show you this guy on TikTok who has this bank chip in his hand. He goes to stores, he goes to vending machines, he scans his hand. Of course, you'll notice on his wrist, he has a pentagram. Oh, is it a star? He's a Dallas Cowboy fan. It's a pentagram. So it's no surprise that this guy has it in him. This new company called Walletmore, it's somewhat new. It's been around for about a year or two. It are one of the companies now that are getting pushing this. And in the UK, this person is the first in the UK, apparently, to get this implemented into his body, or excuse me, in Britain. He's the first in the British father is the first in the nation to be implanted with a safety pin size bank chip. I'll show you here the guy, how he does it, or excuse me, how they implement it, how they put it or implant it, excuse me, into people's bodies. And of course, how they're going to market this stuff with TikTok. And of course, you'll see the sleazy guy who created it, who looks like he loves bagels.
Paying with chip implant at W.H. Smith. Paying with chip implant at vending machine. With chip implant at Homburg Games. Paying for petrol with chip implant.
Oh my God!
Doesn't work? Oh, there we go.
How do you do it?
Magic.
Huh?
Magic.
Ah, magic.
Last time you wrote an actual check or bought something with cash. Swiping and tapping our cards and our apps are not just the easiest way to spend money, they're the safest way, unless, of course, we misplace our phones or our wallets, and then it's a nightmare. It is hard to misplace your hands, however. And soon your hand may be all that you need to buy anything that you can afford and many things that you can't. Because a company called Walletmore is developing a very teeny tiny chip. You see it there in the X-ray? That should creep you out. The chip is like the ones that are found in smart credit cards or debit cards, and the chip gets embedded just under your skin and makes your whole hand a credit card. Joining me now is Wojtek Perota. He's the CEO and founder of Walletmore. Okay, Wojtek, this is so futuristic and out there, but walk me through how it actually works.
Hey, so first of all, thanks for having me. Let's look at the chip as a super small card that you can use wherever contactless payments are accepted. So it's exactly the same NFC technology, which stands for near field communication, and therefore it can be used only for the near field communication payments. So therefore you cannot be tracked, you cannot be monitored, you cannot be spied with that implant because it's exactly the same technology as credit card.
So here's my worry, is that you can accidentally buy something by just having your hand too close to a machine, or you could accidentally have your data all stolen by shaking someone's hand, because a lot of times we protect our cards in cases that can't be penetrated. But if it's in your hand, it's really hard to do that.
It's not that simple, to be honest. First of all, you cannot lose money when you are shaking hands with anyone, because the implant is the passive tag and it doesn't have any internal source of energy. And therefore, the only option to get the read of that implant is to put it in the near field of terminal. So therefore, the other implant, which is inside of the other person's hand, is not capable of processing information. You need to have that source of energy, and only terminals that you can see at the moment are capable of providing that energy. So that's one thing. The other thing is that you definitely cannot lose your money because of the fact that you tap in a random place. Why? Because the implant is so small compared to the credit card. Normally, of course, when you tap the credit card, the terminal, it gets the read instantly. With the implant, it's a little bit different because you need to be super precise. And therefore, if someone is touching your hand, finding this perfect sweet spot, because that's how we need to look at it, you would realize at least 10 times that something is going on with your hand. So that's
do you have it? Wojtek, do you have it in your hand right now?
Yeah, of course. Actually, the x-ray that you saw was from my hand, and that's how it looks. On my hand.
So show me your hand. Is it possible to see it at all? It's just barely standing out, right? Like it looks like maybe a little like a scar.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm popping it a little bit.
Oh man, that's crazy. Did you have a doctor insert it?
Yeah, of course, that's part of the deal, because we are only building the implants. And when it comes to the installations, we want the whole experience to be as safe as possible. And therefore, we built a network of partners all across Europe and the US. So therefore, if you are ordering an implant from our site, it's of course shipped to you, but then you need to schedule the appointment with one of the specialists who will just set it up for you.
So do you use it? Like, do you go up to a cashier and say, yeah, I'll just tap my hand? And if that's the case, what's the reaction from the sales clerks?
Yeah, of course. I've been testing it myself since the very beginning. I have been the first person to get it installed, and reactions are pretty wild, to be honest. Sometimes people just don't care, but because when they are stuck in the office for like 10 hours, they just do not care. They just care about having the payment to be processed. But sometimes the reactions are really extreme, because when I tap my hand and there's clearly nothing here inside of the glove or anything else, anywhere else, they are just asking, how the hell is that possible? You need to have a watch somewhere down here in your shirt. But when I'm just taking it down and seeing and showing that, okay, there's nothing out there, then the conversation begins. But in most cases, it turns out to be like a positive conversation, because as long as explain how it works and what's actually inside, they're pretty much optimistic about it. So there is an instance.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's still a lot of regulatory. I mean, this is a long way before its mass market appeal, but it is really interesting to see that you're on the leading edge of this and that you're doing it yourself as your lead guinea pig. Wojtek Perota, thanks so much for being on. I want to stay with you on this story to see how you do with the business.
So this is something that is a little bit different, because they're talking about it being a bank card. Now, obviously, we've seen the stuff with Amazon, right? Where in the Amazon store, you can go into the store, you don't have to do anything. It automatically, as long as you have your phone on you, it automatically, you can just go in, take what you want, and walk out, and it automatically will pay for it. It'll track what you buy, etc. This is a little bit different because this is linked directly to his bank. This is provided from the bank, pretty much. The bank is connected, at least I should say, with this company. So all of his money is literally in his hand. So he can walk around if he's got $100 in his bank account. He can go out and he can spend 100. Right? You walk up to anything that has the scanning capabilities, which we've all seen now with the tap and pay, which again I've talked about over the years, how they went from just a credit card to the chip, right? Then they started putting propaganda out there about the chip and how the chip was falling out of credit cards, to the tap and pay, where you just tap your credit card on the actual credit card machine, and eventually instead of tapping, this is going to be the next thing, and this is going to be pushed onto the youth. They know that older people are not going to do this. They know that people unless they're the complete libtard losers, they know that they're not, but they know they can influence children. That's why this new world order to them is so important, to brainwash the youth out there with this crap, because they know that they can say, let's put it on TikTok. Let's make it look really cool. Let's make it look really easy. Let's make it look really fun, right? So people almost want to get it and go to the store and just run around and pay for things with their hand or their wrist. So that's what's frightening about this. And this guy, the British father, who was the first in the nation to be implanted with a safety pin-sized bank chip, goes by the name of Arnie Soes. He paid 350 euros, which is $394, to have the new technology inserted into his hand in Germany. And is this the future of the people, or for the people who don't want to carry a wallet or a purse? And again, that's another way they market it, as if carrying a purse or carrying a wallet is so difficult. Just like the stuff with the Alexa, turning off your light switch it's so difficult. Putting on a CD or putting on an iPod, I should say, and playing your music instead of just telling Alexa, it's so difficult. This is what they're doing to people. They're getting them so dependent on technology to make things easier, but what it's really doing is enslaving them. So it's been reported that in Sweden, 4,000 people have body chips linked to their bank accounts, according to the Daily Mail. And over the years I've covered Sweden, they were probably the first hotspot where a lot of idiots really were just taking this taking this chip and walking around and using it. But now it's spreading. Now it's spreading to different countries. It's going to spread to America. It's going to spread all over. And again, the bank part of it is something that's very key, because they're not going to be able to buy or sell eventually without it being inside of your body. But I believe that the chip itself is, again, another way to prepare people to have it injected, for the most part, into their bodies, because it'll be a part of their bodies. When you have a chip in you, there's still a chance that somebody could cut you open and take the chip out. Well, having it in your DNA code or DNA strand, there ain't any way of getting it out of your body. It's permanent. It's in there. Once it's in, it's in. That's why there's no going back once you take the mark. So I know people have difference of opinion on the mark, but let's be realistic about where we're headed here with digital currency, cashless society, control, carbon footprint, and being able to track every single purchase you make, every single thing that you do. And then eventually, when they wean out cash and they wean out gold, all these things that people think are, people are like, we'll use gold, we'll use silver. All that stuff is going to be eliminated. It's going to be eliminated. You're not going to be able to go to the store to buy food and say, hey, I have a gold bar. Can I buy all this food? They're going to destroy all types of currency so that people have no choice if they want to buy or sell but to take the mark. But for the time being, people still have free will, and people can still make decisions, but they need to become aware of these things. And again, TikTok, social influencers are going to be a key for them getting this pushed across. So it's very, very scary. I thank everyone for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families.